In the rush of daily life, we often become like a fragile leaf caught in a powerful storm. There are nights spent wide awake with worries we can't even name, and mornings when all we want is to disappear into silence, avoiding the heavy pressures of work, relationships, and the unpredictable chaos around us. We've all stumbled before. We've all had days when moving forward felt impossible. The exhaustion keeps piling up, and sometimes it drains not just our energy, but our belief in our own worth. Yet even in the darkest silence, a light always exists. It waits for you to look within. Stoicism isn't about ignoring your emotions or pretending life doesn't hurt. It's an invitation to face reality head-on, to calmly accept what you cannot change and intentionally strengthen the goodness already inside you. You deserve clarity, steadiness, and inner peace. So join me as we explore 11 timeless Stoic lessons in this video. Principles that will help you stay centered in the storm, reclaim your power, and build resilience from within. Don't miss a single part, because what you've been searching for may already be alive in your soul. Control what you can control. 1. Control what you can control. I remember a quiet autumn afternoon last year, sitting alone on the porch with a warm cup of coffee, golden sunlight passing through falling leaves. Everything in front of me looked peaceful. A small road, rows of trees, children playing with a neighbor's dog. But inside, I was a storm of work stress, family concerns, friendships that suddenly felt cold, and constant fear about a future I couldn't predict. Every morning felt like waking up with heavy armor, trying to control every detail, every reaction from others, every headline online, every perfect step of the life plan I wrote for myself. Then one day, I truly began reading Stoic philosophy, not skimming, but letting the words of Marcus Aurelius and Epictetus sink deep. They taught me the boundaries of control, that the only things I truly command are my own thoughts, responses, and actions. Everything else, opinions of others, their emotions, the weather, the economy, and pure luck, lies outside my reach. Instead of exhausting myself trying to control the world, why not release the things that were never mine to manage? I discovered that my need to control everything was the very source of my anxiety and disappointment. I had created harsh expectations and demanded perfection from a life that was never meant to be controlled, not only for myself, but also for others. Each time the world failed to follow the script I had written in my head, I would get angry, complain, and sink into worry. But the truth is, life doesn't always go the way any one person wants. And the more I strained to make everything perfect, the further I drifted from freedom, the heavier my heart felt. The day I finally admitted that some things simply couldn't be changed, I felt an immense sense of relief. Instead of obsessing over outcomes, I focused on what I could actually do, how I chose to react to criticism, how I solved problems at work, how I cared for my family, and even how I treated myself. For everything outside of that, I learned to accept. No more rushing to blame the sudden rain or someone who didn't meet my expectations. I allowed myself to live fully in each moment, rather than anxiously trying to control what was never mine to begin with. You know, when I stopped clinging to control, I started to feel real peace. I slept better, laughed more, and was surprised to find myself more adaptable to any situation. The vague worries faded away, replaced by a quiet confidence. I own what is within my grasp and let go of the rest. You can start today. When something doesn't go your way, ask yourself, is this within my control? If it isn't, let it drift away like clouds in the sky above you. Each time you do this, you move closer to true inner freedom, a gift only you can give yourself. And remember, life is not about controlling everything. Life is about mastering yourself and letting the world be itself. 2. Practice calmness. Practice calmness. There are mornings when life feels like a perfectly still lake in the early mist. Then, suddenly, just one small pebble is enough to ripple the surface. Our emotions are the same. An unanswered message, a careless comment, a fleeting look. Sometimes that's all it takes to unsettle our minds, pulling the whole day into anxiety, restlessness, or frustration. We grow up believing emotions are natural, just go with the flow, only to often become slaves to those sudden emotional waves. Often the problem isn't whether something is big or small, but that we've allowed our emotions to take over every thought, word, and action. Like a runaway car with no brakes, the faster it goes, the more likely it is to spiral out of control, leaving behind a trail of anxiety and regret. The Stoic philosopher Epictetus once said, "It's not what happens to you, but how you react to it that matters. It is our response that determines happiness or suffering." The truth is, we can't choose every circumstance life throws at us. But we absolutely have the power to choose how we respond to every feeling, every event. That's why Stoicism always emphasizes awareness of your emotions is the first step in practicing calmness. When you start to recognize your anger, confusion, disappointment, or jealousy, you've already given yourself the power to choose, to keep letting the emotion take over, or to pause, breathe deeply, observe, and respond more proactively. Calmness isn't about forcing yourself to feel nothing, but about learning to step outside your own emotional storm like a clear-minded observer. When criticized, try counting to 10 before replying. When you fail, instead of beating yourself up, ask, "What is this feeling telling me? Is it really worth losing my peace over?" A deep breath, a moment of stillness. These can be the difference between a reckless decision and a wise turning point. You can't control whether the lake of life is always calm, but you can learn to master the ripples within your own heart. Start building the habit of recognizing your emotions whenever something stirs you. Write it down, say it aloud, or simply listen to yourself. Gradually, you'll see that anger, sadness, or restlessness are just clouds drifting across your sky. They come and go, but are not your true nature. The strength of calmness lies in your ability to recognize and adjust your own state. Don't wait until you've lost control to pause and reflect. Make calmness your smallest habit, a deep breath before you answer, a step back before you react. A quiet minute each day to ask yourself, does this feeling really decide where I'm going? If you keep at it, you'll realize life doesn't always have to be smooth, but you can always find peace in the midst of the waves. Don't let negativity control your emotions. 3. Don't let negativity control your emotions. We are always taught to be strong, to not care what people think. But in reality, everyone has at some point felt trapped, behind the wall of judgment, hurt, angry, or even doubting their own worth because of careless or intentional words. The truth is, other people's opinions are like the wind outside your window. You can't stop it from blowing, but you can choose whether to keep the window open or closed. Stoicism taught me and can help you see as well. Outsiders only see a tiny fragment of who you are. They can guess, judge, or label, but only you know the whole journey, the pain, the determination, and all you've overcome. Many people live as if the world must validate their worth, forgetting that true peace doesn't come from applause or criticism outside. I know deep down everyone longs for recognition and love. But as I've grown, I've realized if your feelings rise and fall with every look or comment, you'll never truly be yourself. Interestingly, whether you believe in religion or just in a power greater than yourself, the sense that God is watching over you is a reminder that your value doesn't depend on idle gossip. God sees even what no one else knows and doesn't judge you by your stumbles or small mistakes. In those eyes, you always have the chance to grow, to make amends, and to be fully worthy of love. First, learn to distinguish between constructive feedback and empty negativity. When someone genuinely gives you feedback out of care, even if it's hard to hear, it's still a valuable gift. Open yourself to it. Reflect and improve if you see it's right. As for malicious criticism, mindless comments, or words born of jealousy, you need to practice listening and then let them blow away with the wind. Don't turn your heart into a dumping ground for every passing opinion. You also need to remind yourself, as Epictetus once wrote, "It is not things that trouble us, but our judgments about things." Spend your time on things that matter. Focus on your values, your goals, and your real growth. Every time you're shaken by a negative remark, ask yourself, does this really help me improve? Is it worth losing my joy or peace over? In the end, you'll see that when your heart stands firm like a mountain, the winds outside only make you stronger. Don't look for validation from the world. Recognize your own worth and believe that no matter what anyone says, you are worthy of respect, love, and your own unique journey of growth. Cherish the present. 4. Cherish the present. Every day the clock on the wall ticks steadily, never pausing, never waiting for anyone, not even for a moment. Some people take this for granted. Others see it as a harsh reminder. For me, every tick of the clock is an undeniable message. Time is finite, and it never comes back. The great motivational speaker of the 21st century, Jim Rohn, once said, "Time is more valuable than money. You can get more money, but you cannot get more time." We nod in agreement. Everyone says this is true. Yet in our daily lives, few of us actually live as if we believe it. We rush out the door in the morning, endure long work days, spend our evenings scrolling through our phones just to kill boredom, telling ourselves, "It's nothing, I'll do it tomorrow." Just like that, time slips away without us feeling the slightest regret. Think about it. Over the past week, how many hours have you spent thinking about money, work, and goals you absolutely have to achieve? How many times have you agonized over money you haven't saved or a success you missed out on? That's the subtle trap of modern life. It makes us chase after money as if it's the only guarantee of happiness, leaving us with no time for ourselves, our loved ones, or for the quiet moments that let us truly live. Stoic philosophy doesn't deny our everyday worries, but it reminds us of how fragile each day is. That every morning we wake up is a miracle, and every heartfelt conversation is a gift that won't come again. When you understand that everything has an ending, you begin to treasure every moment more. You stop putting off words of love, stop delaying meetups, stop saying maybe tomorrow. Think of the song "Cats in the Cradle" by Harry Chapin. A sad story of a father who was always busy with work, telling his son, "When are you coming home, Dad? I don't know when we'll get together then. You know, we'll have a good time then." And by the time the father grew old, his son had grown up too, caught up in the same cycle, and it was too late to ever truly be together. That story is a painfully accurate mirror for so many of us. We often postpone happiness and love simply because we think there's still time. The solution lies in being proactive. Don't wait until time is almost gone to realize what truly matters. Start today. Turn off your phone when you're with your family. Call a friend you haven't seen in ages. Make time for your personal interests, your mental health, for the things that make your heart flutter, even just a little. Ask yourself each morning, if today were my last, how would I choose to live? You'll be surprised to realize that the greatest treasure isn't in your bank account, but in the meaningful moments you give to yourself, your loved ones, and this life. When you grasp the true value of time, you stop being swept up in fear of material lack, and you become grateful for every day you get to be here to love and to live fully. Don't let tomorrow become an empty promise. Cherish the present. Live wholeheartedly, because every passing moment is a miracle you can never buy back at any price. Accept reality. 5. Accept reality. Sometimes life suddenly veers off like a sharp turn on a quiet road, leaving you unprepared. You plan carefully, think things through, pour your heart into making sure everything goes according to plan. And then something happens. Illness, job loss, family issues, or simply a day that doesn't go your way. In those moments, our first instinct is often to resist reality, to get angry, to blame, to complain, to try to change what can't be changed. The more we struggle, the bigger our disappointment, the heavier our burdens become. Have you noticed most of the suffering in life doesn't come from the events themselves, but from our inner resistance to them? When you pause and look clearly at what's happening with full awareness, you'll see everything that shows up in your life is a part of your journey to grow. Like sudden rainstorms that seem inconvenient but are needed for plants to grow, for the air to be freshened, and for our souls to be cleansed. I know it isn't easy to let go of the habit of complaining or blaming when things don't go your way, but think about it. Can any of us really control everything that happens out there? Sometimes desperately trying to fix what has already happened only leaves us feeling more powerless. The truth is, when you accept reality, your mind settles, making space for you to see solutions and move forward. God doesn't give anyone a perfectly smooth path, but He does give us chances to grow through challenges and difficulties. Sometimes setbacks aren't there to punish you, but to teach you how to let go, to grow in strength and faith. When you believe that everything happens for a deeper reason, you're no longer crushed by failure or loss. Instead, you learn how to rise from things you once thought were impossible to overcome. The solution starts with a shift in mindset. Whenever something unwanted happens, instead of asking "why me?" try asking, "what can I learn from this?" Remind yourself that what cannot be changed isn't worth stealing your peace. Focus on what you can control: your emotions, your reactions, your persistence, and your gratitude. Step by step, each challenge becomes a lesson, each pain a stepping stone for growth, each setback a chance for a new beginning. And you know, it's when you dare to face and accept reality that you feel lighter and more at peace. Everything that happens could be a gift from God, even if it doesn't look pleasant on the outside. Don't fight reality. Welcome it with a positive spirit and focus on building something good right where you are. Then you'll see that no matter what happens, you can keep moving forward stronger than you ever thought possible. Live by your personal values and virtues. 6. Live by your personal values and virtues. In the rush of life, it's easy to be swept along with the crowd, chasing after what others expect and forgetting what your own true values are. Day after day, we face all kinds of temptations and compromises, small lies to avoid conflict, bending our principles just to keep others pleased, or abandoning patience for quick results. Sometimes, looking back, you can't even recognize who you once were. You forget what you stand for, what you truly live for, and where the line divides right from wrong, between what must be done and what must never be done. Aristotle once said, "We are what we repeatedly do." Excellence, then, is not an act, but a habit. What happens outside only influences you if you allow it to reach your core values. If you live chasing approval or constantly pleasing others, you'll always stay vulnerable and lose direction every time storms rise. But when you allow your values to guide you, honesty, patience, fairness, kindness, no criticism, setback, or failure can break you. Ask yourself, what brings you the deepest pride when you look back on your life? The moments you stayed truthful despite difficulty, The days you endured hardships without surrender, the times you defended what was right, even if you stood alone. Or is it shallow achievements, brief applause from people who quickly forget? You already know the answer. Living by your values isn't a smooth road. Some days you'll feel like the outsider, called strange, judged, or misunderstood. But those are the moments when your courage is tested, when your heart asks quietly, do I dare stand by what I believe? Do I choose kindness, patience, and honesty, or trade them for temporary comfort? Your answer doesn't only shape your character, it builds the peace within you that no one can take away. True transformation isn't in dramatic change. It begins each morning with one question. How will I live today so I never have to feel ashamed of myself? It's in how you treat those with less, the words you speak when anger rises, and your attitude when life challenges you. Let your values be your compass. Every choice, big or small, is a brick in the foundation of who you become. When you honor your virtues, whether you win or lose, peace remains in your heart. Fear fades, and judgment from others loses power. Real happiness isn't born from outside validation. It comes from the pride and certainty you feel each time you face your reflection. So choose one core value, one virtue to hold tight. Honesty, patience, fairness, or simply the courage to love genuinely. When you live that truth every single day, life becomes richer and far more meaningful than any title, praise, or achievement. And that's when you discover the greatest joy. Living fully as yourself, without pretending, without pleasing, just proudly at peace within. Seek happiness from within. 7. Seek happiness from within. Have you ever asked why so many achieve the dreams they once chased? A luxury car, status, adventures, yet soon feel empty inside. We keep believing that if we gather enough achievements, possessions, or excitement, happiness will finally show up. But like water slipping through the fingers, the more desperately we chase it, the quicker it disappears, because true joy doesn't come from what we can touch outside. There's a line in Pharrell Williams' song, Happy, that always sticks with me. Clap along if you feel like happiness is the truth. Simple words, but a truth many spend a lifetime failing to understand. Happiness is an active choice, a state we decide, not a prize from luck or a gift from someone else. You must create it within you, no matter the situation, no matter others' opinions, even if the whole world turns away. Stoicism showed me, and can show anyone, that suffering begins the moment we hand over our happiness to forces beyond our control. Think about it. A stable job seems like security, but one decision from a boss or one poor market shift, and your peace collapses. Wealth, praise, comfort, they can all vanish without warning. If your joy depends on what can disappear, your life will always be controlled by uncertainty. Sage Ramana Maharshi once said, "Happiness is your nature. It's not wrong to desire it. What is wrong is seeking it outside when it is inside." We have every right to pursue happiness, but we must learn to build it from the inside out. But the greatest mistake is to look for it outside ourselves. Even our feelings and emotions change all the time. They can't be controlled forever. True happiness isn't about trying to be happy, but about calmly accepting every state within yourself. Joy, sadness, hope, disappointment with a loving, non-judgmental attitude. How do you practice this? First, stop comparing. Stop measuring your worth by external standards. Each day, spend a few minutes simply listening to your breath, noticing every small movement in your body, reminding yourself, today, I choose peace. No matter what happens, when things don't go your way, don't rush to blame the circumstances or other people. Look at how you respond, how you heal yourself, how you motivate yourself to move forward. The more you actively build inner fulfillment, the more resilient you'll be against the storms outside. Happiness isn't about always feeling joyful. It's about the ability to live fully with yourself on sunny days and rainy days, in success and in failure. When you understand this, you'll stop searching and you'll become your own greatest source of comfort. That's the most important lesson and the most magical thing that Stoicism can offer anyone willing to listen and change. 8. Emotional independence. Emotional independence. If our emotions are like a lamp, then outside validation is just the passing wind. A lamp that depends on the wind will always flicker. Sometimes burning bright, sometimes faint, even going out altogether if the wind is too strong. But a lamp that's well protected and fueled from within will shine no matter how fierce the storm outside. Have you ever counted how many compliments, how many likes, how many looks of approval you need in a day to feel worthy? Today's society throws us into an invisible race, chasing others' validation to fill an inner void. Our emotions rise and fall with things beyond our control. Who likes us? Who doesn't? Who says what? Who leaves us? The more we try to please everyone, the more we lose ourselves, the more we fear being alone or misunderstood. Look at the story of the writer Franz Kafka. Throughout his life, Kafka battled anxiety and self-doubt about his work. He published almost nothing while alive, convinced his writing was not good enough and would never be accepted. Only after his death did his friend publish his works, and the world was stunned by their depth and originality. Kafka's true value never lay in immediate applause, but in the fact that he kept writing, stayed true to his inner struggles and questions, no matter how indifferent or judgmental the world seemed. To achieve emotional independence, the first step is recognizing your dependencies. If you often seek reassurance, feel lonely easily, or don't set boundaries out of fear of upsetting others, those are clear signs. No one is born unshakable. Most of us carry wounds from the past, from upbringing, from times we've been hurt. But healing begins when you dare to face yourself and learn to affirm your own worth. Therapies like cognitive behavioral therapy, dialectical behavior, therapy or attachment-based approaches can all help untangle these knots. Next is building healthy boundaries. Learn to say no. Take time for yourself and allow yourself to enjoy quiet and solitude without guilt. Don't be afraid of moments alone. Those are when you understand yourself best. Know what you want, need, and what's non-negotiable. When you are emotionally independent, all your relationships become healthier and more genuine. You no longer need others to complete you. You choose to connect and share because you truly want to, not because you have to. Relationships built on independence and mutual respect are always stronger, deeper, and happier. Don't be a lamp that only shines with the wind. Choose to fuel your soul each day so you can glow in your own way, no matter what anyone says, no matter what's happening outside. Then you'll stop fearing rejection, stop worrying about being left behind, and no longer chase fleeting validation. You are whole, strong, and free because only you get to decide your own worth. Accept failure as part of growth. 9. Accept failure as part of growth. Imagine life as a long mountain climb where no one reaches the summit in a straight line without slips or scrapes. Everyone stumbles, falls into pits of doubt and disappointment, and sometimes just wants to give up. Failure is what everyone fears, what everyone tries to avoid, but in reality, it is the silent teacher essential to growth. Face failure as a natural part of life. When you dare to look it in the eye, you'll see that every scrape, every stumble leaves you with a lesson, a chance to ask yourself, what did I do wrong? What am I lacking? If I did it again, how would I change? That is the beginning of true resilience and maturity. A famous study by Carol Dweck a psychology professor at Stanford, demonstrated the power of a growth mindset. In her experiment, she divided students into two groups. One was encouraged by emphasizing effort and the learning process, and the other was learning process, and the other was praised only for their innate intelligence. The result showed that children encouraged to see failure as a growth opportunity not only learned better, but were less discouraged by difficulties, unlike the other group who gave up more easily after setbacks. This lesson applies to adults too. Will you see failure as the end or as a bridge to the next step? The solution is not to try to avoid every mistake, but to develop the habit of reviewing every experience, success and failure alike. After things don't go your way, take a little time to ask yourself, what did I learn? What do my feelings reveal about myself? Is there anything I want to try again? Don't be afraid to share your failures with friends or colleagues. Sometimes you'll get encouragement, a new perspective, or at least realize you're not the only one who stumbles. Never let a single fall define who you are. Real growth comes from daring to get back up and start again, armed with new lessons. And each time you do, you'll see your own strength, courage, and resilience are far greater than you ever thought. Have you ever experienced a failure that left a lasting lesson? Share your story in the comments below. Your experience might just inspire someone else to overcome challenges and grow stronger. 10th, focus on action, not on worrying. Focus on action, not on worrying about the outcome. Nothing is more certain than this. No one can completely control the results of all their efforts. No matter how well you plan or prepare, there are always random factors, unexpected events, or simply other people's opinions and reactions that you cannot influence. That's why if you keep living in a state of anxiety, constantly worrying about the outcome, you'll be stuck in a cycle of unease and stress, and you'll lose all the joy of your own journey. This is the key point that Stoicism wants you to realize. Focus on your actions, on your efforts in the present, instead of drowning in endless what-ifs and about the result. Most of our fears and worries don't come from what actually happens, but from all the worst-case scenarios we create in our minds. Just as the philosopher Seneca once said, we suffer more often in imagination than in reality. If you live in fear of failure and in anxiety about not being recognized, you will only grow more exhausted and likely give up before you even begin. I know it's not easy to stop thinking about results. Since childhood, society has taught us to get good grades, to win awards, and to have achievements as proof of our worth. But as I've grown older, I've seen that those who dare to commit fully to the process, without counting every bit of praise or every short-term result, are the ones who go furthest and are truly happy. Change the question you ask yourself. Don't ask, will I succeed? Instead, ask, did I do my best today? Break your goals into specific, concrete actions. Focus on completing each step one by one. If you need to write a plan, don't sit there worrying whether others will like it. Pour your energy into making the plan as clear and logical as possible. If you want to build a new skill, don't fixate on when you'll become an expert. Just focus on practicing and recognizing every small improvement. Once you pour your whole heart into each action, you'll be amazed at how much lighter and more empowered you feel. Good results are a reward, not a requirement. In fact, when you stop being pressured by the outcome, you gain an inner freedom, daring to experiment, create, and even fail just to learn. The lives of Stoic philosophers are living proof of this lesson. Marcus Aurelius, even as a powerful emperor, constantly reminded himself, "You have power over your mind, not outside events. Realize this, and you will find strength. Focus on controlling your thoughts and actions. Let life take care of the results." So start today. Choose one thing you need to do. Set aside the anxious predictions about the outcome and give all your energy to the action in front of you. When you truly devote yourself to the process, something amazing will happen. You'll find yourself growing stronger and happier each day, no matter what the outcome may be. Be grateful for what you have. 11. Be grateful for what you have. This morning, as soon as I opened my eyes, I heard birds singing outside the porch, smelled the faint aroma of coffee from the kitchen, and felt a bit of gentle sunlight streaming into my small room. These are such simple moments most people might overlook. But it's exactly these little things that are the foundation of true fullness and happiness. Sometimes we keep our eyes fixed on distant dreams, bigger achievements, more money and higher positions, and we forget the value of the present and what we already have. Gratitude is the key that opens the door to inner peace. You don't need to wait until everything is perfect to feel happy. Instead, focus on every good thing, no matter how small, that's present in your life. I'm reminded of the song "Count on Me" by Bruno Mars. If you ever find yourself stuck in the middle of the sea, I'll sail the world to find you. Sometimes, just knowing you have someone to trust, something to look forward to, means you're already richer than many who never experience gratitude. Here's a truth we often forget. Most of our anxiety, worry, and even overthinking doesn't come from what we lack, but from not pausing to notice what we already have. We think a wrong decision is the cause, but in reality, the outcome is shaped not by a single choice, but by countless small actions that follow. Each day, you can choose to focus on failure, or you can be grateful for the chance to correct mistakes, learn, and grow. If you truly want to live gratefully, start with a concrete habit. Every night before bed, write down 3 things you're grateful for today. It could be your health, a child's laughter, a warm meal, or simply the feeling of being able to rest after a hard day. Don't wait for big things to feel content, because life is built from the simplest pieces. Keep up this habit, and you'll see your mindset shift to less comparison, less demanding, and less envy of others. Remember, real success isn't about always making the perfect choice, but about consistently taking the right actions after every decision, being grateful and appreciative of what you have, even if life isn't perfect yet. Gratitude keeps your energy positive, gives you motivation to act, and nourishes meaningful relationships with those around you. If you've made it this conclusion far, I believe you're searching for something deeper for yourself. These 11 lessons of Stoicism are not just theoretical principles, they are a journey. Learning to control what's in your hands, letting go, mastering your emotions, staying strong under criticism, cherishing time, living by your values, finding happiness from within, emotional independence, embracing failure, focusing on action, and being grateful for every little thing. Each lesson is a step to help you grow stronger and live a more meaningful,